I'm Jamie Sorcher for Twice. Thanks for joining us. Today, we are talking about COVID-19 and what's happening at retail. There's a lot to talk about, and joining us right now is Andy Priestman, Director of Business Development for TC Transcontinental. Give everyone a little bit of background on who TC Transcontinental is, what you guys do.
Well, we've got two main divisions at TC Transcon. So we've got a packaging division, and we also have what most people would know us for, which is a print division. So they're both about 50% of the business. We're a publicly traded company based out of Montreal up in Canada. The print side of the business, and the part that I'm most involved in right now, is really what we call our ISM division, which is in-store marketing. So we're really an end-to-end solution provider for brands and retailers out there that are looking for integrated marketing execution. So everything from pre-media digital work for photo and video assets and content creation, all the way through to in-store displays. We do a lot of promotional POP print campaigns, signage and wayfinding, permanent fixturing, as well as packaging solutions. So really the full gamut.
I mean, this whole COVID experience has dramatically changed the shopping experience. I mean, it's always been evolving, especially with online, but now it doesn't seem like the changes are stopping anytime soon.
I think you're 100% right. I think the changes are still ongoing, and the truth is nobody really knows what's happening. It's kind of a moving target at this point. So we're putting a lot of time and energy into data right now and trying to see what's changing on the consumer side in terms of how they're shopping different channels and what the mindset is going into that. And some of the things that we're seeing, I think the number one, and it's probably quite expected, would be there's not the same at-shelf dwell time as there used to be. Consumers are kind of pre-planning their route. They're going in, they know what they want. They've done a lot more research online. We're seeing that the majority of the browsing and the pre-shopping phase is really being done digitally at home, but most of the shopping is still surprisingly being done in store. So I think it's specifically, within a CE environment, there's that appetite for experiential. There's that engagement. They want to touch and feel and be part of it. And there's so many great technologies out there, and they want to experience them. So I think there's a huge pent-up demand for getting back into the store. But I think that we've got to also realize that consumers are going to have those habits. They're going to be doing a lot more research online. They're going to be a lot more open to new technologies like QR codes, where you can extend the shelf without having to take up real estate and a big footprint with it. Other things like curbside pickup and buy online, pickup in store lockers have been a huge, piece for us over the last year. And those are going to get built out into regular programs now. I don't think some of those are going anywhere anytime soon.
Do retailers have almost like an a la carte? Can they sort of pick and choose the things that they want to do, or do they have to do certain things if they're going to make it?
I think every retailer has their own fingerprint, to be honest with you. And I think it's a matter of really understanding your demographic and who your shopper is. What's right for one isn't going to be right for another. And that's going to be based on, a whole bunch of different variables, including categories that you're selling, who your main target markets are, how you're selling it, the footprint of your stores, locations of stores, all those types of things. So, I think there are some elements that everybody can incorporate, things like trying to keep your in-store elements as agile as possible. I think the one thing about a changing retail environment right now is that it's dynamic, and you want to be able to test and iterate really fast. And if something works, amazing. If it doesn't work, you want to be able to pivot really quickly and move on to something that's, try something different that is going to work. So keeping that agility within the store, I think, is one. And the other one that I think everybody needs to focus on is really speed to market. When you've got shorter product life cycles, you've got less attention spans of the consumer in the store, it means that those promotional cycles are going to be shorter as well. And we've also seen a big focus on price point promotions over the last little while. So consumers are very concerned about pricing and being able to cater the store to those specific needs and have more of a tailored approach than a general broad stroke, I think is going to be a key to success for sure.
Help a retailer with marketing to a millennial versus a boomer versus, the span of consumers in the marketplace right now is so diverse. You're speaking several different languages.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I think that's really a matter of the brands and the retailers understanding what those touch points and those engagement points for the consumer on that path to purchase really are. If you're sending out direct mail campaigns to your clients? Are they really going to be a demographic that is engaging with direct physical mail versus, a digital promotion that's going out that they can redeem in store? And likewise, on the in-store promotional side, are you really looking at building brand equity, or are you looking at price point promotions and doing things, is it experiential, or is it really just about converting to purchase? And I don't think that there's, again, one size fits all for anybody. I think it's really just a matter of understanding exactly where your brand fits, what your demographic is, and what type of touch points are resonating with that demographic.
Do you think retailers and brands are saying to themselves, if we can just get through the next 6 months or a year, we'll be fine? Or do they have to be thinking a little bit differently?
I think they've probably been thinking that for the last 12 months, to be honest with you. So I think everybody's definitely still in that mindset. There's a lot of uncertainty. I think what they're really trying to figure out right now is what parts are going to stick and what parts are going to be just COVID related. Which of the trends are going to, as soon as COVID is gone and as soon as immunity is there and we don't have to worry about the social distancing and the restrictions, what pieces are going to fly out the window and people are going to go back to old patterns and behaviors again, and which pieces are going to become part of the new normal for us. And, things like in-store safety signage and hand washing stations and those types of things, I don't think those are going anywhere anytime soon, to be perfectly honest. I think those are going to be part of retail for quite some time to come. There's a lot of discussion about things like right sizing the stores. What's the right size footprint to execute what you need to execute? Is it the same as what it was 12 months ago? Maybe, maybe not. And, how can we speed up the find and all of those different things by using better wayfinding or better layouts or better promotional displays or are the best practices that are out there.
So I'm going to use your abbreviated name there, but what makes TC Transcon, is that what you call it, stand out? What makes you guys special?
I think the biggest one is probably just our scope of capabilities, being able to take a client from photo and video asset creation and digital content creation all the way through to running direct mail campaigns and doing flyer campaigns for them. And then also managing, through the in-store side of it, their promotional displays and promotional signage and that sort of thing. And then looking at even the after sale with retention and loyalty coupon, promotions and that sort of thing as well. It's really a full end-to-end shopper journey execution. And I think that's probably our biggest one. And, I would also say with TC, you get the benefit of scale and size, but we really try and run it more like a boutique, a set of boutique businesses that all have their own specialties. So, internally we call them centers of excellence. We have 5 or 6 of them. Display would be a center of excellence. Print would be a center of excellence. Free media, photo, video content would be a center of excellence. Direct mail. And it's all, all of that is kind of encapsulated in a full end-to-end solution. So we have in-house design teams that can help on the ideation and the initial stages. And then we also have in-house management of installation. So we can take that all the way through to full in-store execution at the end of the day. So I think those would be some of the key elements that really differentiate us on the market.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're really trying to help retailers establish a relationship with the consumer. It's a relationship.
That's it, 100%. It's a relationship. And I think sometimes it's quite a convoluted relationship because you've got brands, you've got retailers. Quite often both parties have agencies. And, the different parties at the table, I think one of the unique perspectives we bring is that we work directly with a lot of the major retailers, and we also work directly with a lot of the major brands. So being able to bring those metrics from both sides to the table and say, okay, ultimately, how do we help the consumer the most here? And how do we drive sales? Because that's really what they're both looking for, is to drive sales. Let's have that conversation and figure out kind of where we fit, because, as you're aware, quite often the brand initial metrics are not the same as the retailer metrics or vice versa. So there's always a bit of a massaging that goes on there.
So let me ask you this, a little bit of a curveball question, but you are an outdoor guy. You like canoeing. You like to hear rain on a tent. I mean, that's outdoorsy.
I do, yeah.
What has that hobby, or what has Mother Nature taught you that you can apply to what you're doing indoors for retailers?
It's a great question. I've never thought of that before. Off the cuff, I would say if I look at why I love the outdoors so much, I think it's the chance to really slow down and be in the moment. And I think, from a retailer perspective, it's how do you create that for a customer in the store? How do you create those touch points that allow them to stop and be totally engulfed in that messaging that you're trying to create for them, and not thinking about anything else? And I think that's probably my first reaction. I'd have to think about that. That's more like an essay question. I'd have to write a long-winded answer, I think, to that.
You make a great point, because I can think of a couple of times when I've gone into a store and the product is right, the messaging's right, the music is right, and my husband's like, I want to get out of here now. And it's been 30 minutes or more, and I'm enjoying that experience. So the retailer has done their job, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you get outdoors and you're paddling across a lake or a river or whatever, it's kind of that tunnel effect, right? Everything goes away and you're just kind of in the moment. And if you can create that as a brand or as a retailer on the retail floor for your consumer, I think you're doing your job pretty well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. Where can viewers go to get more information on TC Transcontinental?
It's a tough email and website to remember, but it's www.tc.tc. And if you click on the in-store marketing side, you'll find out all about our in-store marketing capabilities, and feel free to browse through our packaging and all our other great capabilities as well.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate it.
Thank you.